So that video has been watched by millions of people after I shared it on Sunday on my Instagram page, link down below. So the crash occurred on the opening lap of the UCI Cyclocross World Cup in Dublin last weekend. I travelled over with my pal Stu, and after walking around the course in the morning, we decided early on to take a position by the hurdles. We thought on the first lap of the race there would be some drama in the men and women's race, but we had no idea something of this scale would occur. So what happened? Well, let's break it down. Let's analyse it frame by frame, as I've had lots of questions about how and why the crash happened. So Czech rider Michael Boras got a fab start, a real hole shot, and led the field into the hurdles. Now in modern CX, it's become very popular for riders to jump or bunny hop over the hurdles rather than dismount. Only for Michael, his jump went a bit wrong and caused a massive chain reaction. It is hard to tell from the video whether he clips the front or rear wheel, but whichever wheel he clips, it sends the bike over the barrier and he pivots over the handlebars, and this in turn causes chaos that quickly followed behind him. So he crashes into the second barrier while his bike lands on his wheels and rolls across the path of the oncoming riders on the other side of the track, half of which had by now committed to bunny hopping the hurdles. And this bit is critical because once they're committed, they're bunny hopping and they're airborne and that bike's in their way. There's not really much they can do to avoid hitting that bike. What happens next is in the lap of the gods. So rider 18, furthest away, leaps over the front of the bike, very impressive indeed, while the rider behind him, number 13, rides over the bike and you hear that snap of carbon fibre as he rides straight over it. And then back to the barriers, and European champion Thibaut Nice, son of the legend Sven Nice, is bunny hopping the second barrier, but somehow launches into a rider who caused a chain reaction, now getting back off his feet, sort of grabbing his ankle, and probably dazed and confused and surrounded by riders coming streaming past him. And that sends Thibaut Nice over the bars, but he almost manages to run it out, stall it out, until another rider comes hurtling to him at full speed and body checks him, slams into his back and lands on his ankle. And his ankle gets hit pretty hard. And I thought it was pretty brutal up close. It happened right there, right in front of me. And while Thibaut Nice is down and out and clutching his ankle in agony and howling out in pain, the rest of the field passed through without any further drama. And the next bit is a bit awkward because I'm filming a dramatic crash and Nice is down and out, clearly in pain, howling out very loudly, and people start shouting to grab his bike out of the way, which is in the middle of the course, and I decide it's a good idea to stop filming. I was never expecting to film such a dramatic crash. I'm not filming a kid on the ground, so I stopped filming. And luckily a few seconds later the medical truck comes along, but by this point it all happened very quickly. Nice is hobbling back to his feet, back on his bike, and he slowly rides off. So he put on a brave chase, but ultimately never caught the riders up because they're going so fast. And after about half distance, he eventually bailed, jumped on a plane from Dublin to Calpe for some sunny riding and training for his next event. Now, on that leading rider, Michael Boras, who caused the crash, he's come in for quite a bit of flack on social media, which I think is unfair. It definitely wasn't intentional. And I think a result of the adrenaline and the shock and pressure of being in the lead of the race. There's a lot of adrenaline, you're really focused, and mistakes happen when you're in that situation. And it's something I can relate to because in a CX race earlier this season, I've been in the top 10 for a few of the races, but got a really good start on one race, got the whole shot, and managed to get into the woods, the technical section in the woods, in the lead of the race. But my heart rate through the roof, and I'm not used to being in that position at all. And I felt the pressure of leading the race and trying to maintain good lines through the corners, and I made all sorts of mistakes. And because he's human, we're human, and that's what we love about racing. We're not robots going around. Mistakes happen, and that is why racing of any type is so exciting. So yeah, simple mistake, but a mistake that led to a massive crash and millions of views on my Instagram page, which really has surprised me. And the women's race before the men's race, no such drama at all. And the men had no further drama in their race either. So definitely a first lap, opening lap incident that often happens on the first lap of any race. And watching the riders, it's interesting how popular that bunny hopping has become. But watching the rest of the race unfold, because the barriers are quite high, the riders definitely have to slow down into the barriers before committing to their jump, the bunny hop, while the riders who are good at dismounting carried pretty much all their speed. And I saw two riders approach the barriers, one dismount and one bunny hop, and they came out at the same time and the same speed. So really jumping the hurdles doesn't save you any time from what I can see at all. It's very impressive, definitely a good show of skill, but I think dismounting and remounting as quick as I saw in that race is a more impressive skill than jumping. And if I was in charge of the UCI, I would bring in a rule to enforce all CX riders to dismount and remount at hurdles. For me, that's part of the appeal of the sport. The fact you have to get off, as much as I hate getting off the bike, to carry it over, lumber it over the hurdles and carry on. So there we go. I thought it'd be fun to sort of break down the crash in a bit more detail and really analyse what happened and how the chain reaction really occurred. So yeah, and let me know your thoughts on bunny hopping or dismounting hurdles in a CX race. But that's all for now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again very soon.